What's in a name? Well, I decided that I was going to look at what my name means. Now, I always knew that Aaron was the brother of Moses, and when God chose Moses, apparently, to teach the Jews, Moses was quite perturbed by that, because he said, Lord, I do not have a tongue, metaphorically speaking. He didn't feel that he was a good communicator, and so he wondered why God was choosing him, because as far as he was concerned, there was many other people that God should be choosing if he wants someone to articulate God's greatness. But as it happened, Aaron, Moses' elder brother, was a very good articulator. So Aaron assumed that position, and he was very, very instrumental in the teachings of Yahweh. Or so the story goes. Now, I have just looked online here, so I'm going to be showing you my screen, and going to hone in on this, and we're going to see what it says. Now, here, let's get that in the picture. I should do a screenshot really, but can't bother. So it says here, the name Aaron has Hebrew origins and means exalted or mounting of strength. It's also been interpreted to mean teacher or warrior lion. Now, as far as the name goes, well, I identify with all of those subtitles, very much in line with my character, my personality, and my very essence. The name comes from the Hebrew word Ahan. The original Hebrew spelling is Aharon, but the H was dropped in the Greek variation. The English form Aaron is derived from the Greek spelling. The name may also have originated in ancient Egypt or Greece. The name appeared in the Bible, Quran, and the Torah. It was used by Jews and early Christians, then became exclusively Jewish in the Middle Ages. It was taken up by the Gentiles in the 17th century. It has remained popular in the US for many decades. Notable people: Aaron was the brother of Moses and the first high priest of the Israelites. The name has been used by creatives like Shakespeare and George Eliot. Now it says here, Aaron is the Hebrew name typically given to boys. It means exalted or strong, but it has also been interpreted to mean teacher or mountain of strength, while the name is spelled blah 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 blah. Let me go down here to the other meaningful point, where it says here, according to the book of Exodus, Aaron first functioned as Moses' assistant because Moses complained that he could not speak well. God appointed Aaron as Moses' prophet. Exodus blah blah, at the command of Moses he let his rod turn into a snake. So let's come back now. It's very curious when we look at things like that, and they have a certain reality. Aaron being the articulator, being the warrior, being the lion, the exalted one, in small circles, and so, you know, this is just a sort of pointer, so you might want to do it yourselves to see if there's any truth in your name, to see if there's deep meaning and spiritual connotations. You know, for me, everything that I look at, it's so poignant, it's so on cue, and it's kind of like very bizarre. Now, I'm a Libra, and so I'm given to thinking in polarities. So I can shift way over this way and then way over that way and then all in between. So that makes me a good thinker, good orator, and it enables me to, the best I can, avoid biases, because I can very easily look at one side and then go, ah, yeah, well, there is the other side, and both sides have equal weight, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't give anything any particular gravity, because I can very easily look at the polar opposite. And so this is why in my videos I will speak as if I am this way on one occasion, then I'll speak completely the adverse on another one. Sometimes I am for the people, and sometimes I am against the people. I'm for the overlords, and I'm always saying to you guys, my mind works much more like theirs than it does, you know, the Joe in the street. And I find it very curious that I find myself here on the street level of humanity when I don't think like people in the street. I think like those global leaders and manipulators and intellectuals, or whatever you call it, because they have a broader spectrum of consciousness and insight. And that's why they're leaders, isn't it? In some cases, in any case, you know, we need to think very, very broadly, and we can't be subject to biases, and we can't just have our pet hates and our dislikes and things like that we get bonded with and get restricted by, because that would be our downfall. We've always got to keep outside of any bondage, of any shackles, of any mental description. We've got to cast them all off. We've got to throw them all down, and we've got to look at the world fresh every single second of every day. We've always got to be open-minded, and so that means something to me. Now, I was born in 1963, 6 and 3 make 9. I was born on the 9th of October, and 9 is indicative of consciousness. It's the number which represents consciousness. Number 9 is the number which the 360 degrees of the direction is divisible by. 9 is a very, very powerful number spiritually, and mathematically it's a very, very powerful number. And so from a very young age I considered number 9 to be my favourite number. And it wasn't just because it was my birthday. It just meant something more to me. And so as I matured, I started to investigate into these things, then I discovered that, well, it couldn't have been any other way, could it? You know, I'm a Libra, I'm born on the 9th, and 9's my favourite number. Green was my favourite colour. Then I grew up to be the Green Man, didn't I? And have such an affinity with nature. My original name was Dale, which is undulating landscape of hills and valleys, the Dales. And so that was my ancestral name originally. But I chose Aaron at a later date because I wanted to reinvent myself, and I didn't like that name. I mean, in Australia it was a girl's name also, but whenever I've seen people called Dale, I'm like, I can't identify with them. And so I chose Aaron because it was Elvis Presley's middle name. Now, Elvis had a twin who died at childbirth, and that's why his mother deemed that Elvis was so special, because he had two souls, two spirits, which gave him extra power. And so because I always had a deep-rooted affinity with Elvis and his incredible music, then I wanted to be a part of that. And then Berry is also of Jewish descendancy, curious enough, and that was Chuck Berry's name. And so two incredible rock and rollers, but also because it's AB, and if your name, your initials are AB, then it means you get first in any listings, in directories. And so if you have businesses under your name, then yours can be first. And so it was a calculated manoeuvre from that perspective. So anyway, people, what's in a name? What's in your name? Have a look. You might find something interesting.